Oh, thank you. Sorry, I had myself on mute still. I was just telling a sad story of how I that order that you see there is a simulated order. I was testing something earlier today. I had a price alert here today, and I was going to try my hand at a day trade for once. And price alert went off on a pullback. And he said, "All right, I got this," and then I didn't. So never made the trade. Unlucky today on that. It happens. What do I think of ASO, the trade of the week? It's a tease. I mean, it's in the money. It was. I haven't checked it in a while. It's all time highs. I like it. If you're in it, whatever your position is, manage that well. Let's see. So today's Thursday. So Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Here's the call. It went up. It went down. Kind of hovered here for a moment. Teased yesterday, and now we got a beautiful day today. So manage your risk well. I like the chart. It's all time highs. Right there, just above that now. What else is there to comment on that I love? Here on a bigger picture, the things that I always look at. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's what I think of it. I didn't take the trade to really kind of out of the price range of stocks that I trade, but everything about it I liked. The price range actually wasn't my excuse for not getting it. I had other things that were working, other positions that were working, and I was committed in those positions and wasn't allocating any more capital for trading. So that was that. Um, but I liked it. That's all I could say. I think at this point, if you weren't in it by now, you're chasing slightly. I mean, it would be a chase for me now, but I'm very conservative on my entries. So regardless of scans, regardless of charts, regardless of what anybody's talking about, saying or doing, I have my own personal trading plan. I stick to it. I don't deviate from that plan. On the rare occasion I do, I pay a penalty. I think anybody that has a trading plan and once in a while jumps away from it, they generally find the same thing too. So you're in the position. I hopefully you got it at a good price. Just manage it now. Listen, for me personally, managing a trade is harder than anything else. It always has been. I've made many great trades that I didn't close great. So um, it's just kind of what it is. Steve talks about satisfying both demons, greed and fear. So you satisfy the greed fear by only selling part of it. Satisfy the fear demon by selling part of it as well. You got 200 shares, let's say, and you sell 75, 100, 125, whatever it is, and then let the rest ride, knowing that you've locked something in. But you might still be along for the ride afterwards. Maybe if you got to stop, you bump that stop up so that what you've locked in, you don't lose that lock in. Everybody's different how they're going to manage it. But those are some helpful things that were told to me early that I didn't apply till too late, or till late or in the game anyway. So that's that. I see more and more people starting to pile in. Again, for anybody that's either new to this, coming in for the first time, or haven't really been around much, it's a late day Q&A for Trade Ideas software. So I prefer it when you are all asking questions that I can answer. More software driven, content driven as far as trade ideas goes. But anything stock related isn't off the table as long as I have some sort of knowledge in it, anyways. I will, press forward and come up with some ideas, some thoughts, go over a few things. If not, try to keep it interesting, keep it moving as always. But like I said, if you guys have questions, fire them away from me in that questions panel. That's what I prefer, to answer questions. So, with that said, I will let's jump on a few Holly things here today. Um, Another pretty rocking day from her on some of these alerts here. I really, this DLO alert, man, what a call. And so much time to get in this trade too. It's not whipping all over the place. It's nothing crazy. It doesn't have a big spread. It never really did. A little over two times its relative volume on 10 days. We're looking at 3.8 mil shares traded now coming into the last 23 plus minutes of trading today. So nice and liquid. nice volume, nothing beyond crazy. And, this thing was just so beat up. And to make a call like that, to get that, kudos to the AI. That algo nailed it. Again, the exit never quite as nice as I like it as far as the exits could go. I feel like, letting the price move back that much is a sin. But again, it's a robot, not a human being looking at those charts, and that's kind of how that all goes. But you know, I'll be honest, from my own personal trader eye, I'm not so sure about this alert looking at it. All right. Why am I not so sure? We're overly beat up, number one. Okay. That means nothing as far as a bounce is concerned. We have this gap down and go yesterday all day long, just nothing but pain. And, this morning it gaps up and then starts to fade and just looks like the trend is your friend still on this. And if we're to look back here, let's draw a line. You know, is that going to be support? My eye says I'm not so confident that that's support. It's a newer issue stock, so to call these levels back here support or resistance, it's kind of not really enough data to make that kind of call for me personally. So on my own eye, I didn't see it, but she gets it right here and never looks back. That one little wick in that candle, and then nice candle up, kind of even. Nice couple of candles up again. Just a little pull up, a little pull back, and we start to make new highs again right there. So just a beautiful trade on the AI. Really, really good stuff from the old girl there, Holly Grail. Beautiful stuff. I do like to be unbiased. The winners, the losers. There's both. This trade right here just never really did it. That's all there was to it. If I could ever get the chart to load, there we go. Looked like it might be one of those ones that was ready to go, actually, to be honest. This one, the charts appeal to me a little bit more here. So if we take, not what I want for a trend line. Sorry, I want to switch this back. I don't want to draw a trend line. I want to draw a horizontal line, although it's making me draw a trend line. Goodbye. So what am I looking at here? This. Look on your channel. Do you see this here, Jess? Trade Ideas AI. That's what you should see. Right there. You can, but don't do it as a channel. I wouldn't recommend doing it as a channel. Just do it like this. Hold on. Let me bring over. So on your menu bar here, go to new and go to AI Holly Strategy Trades window. That right there. All right. Not the strategy window, the strategy trades window, and load that. And that's going to load this here. And that'll be all the trades that were there. Get that out of the way. So I was looking at, more of this level here, and I really thought we might have that kind of room. It's not a super early alert. It's a nice gap. We hold the gap. We test to the downside. We're coming back up. Buyers and sellers are even for a few minutes here. And I just thought, it's got volume. We got juice. We've got earnings. It's women's clothes. Retail's been strong, and I just thought it was going to have it, and it didn't. That's all there was to it. It all looked like it was ready to go, and it absolutely didn't. Perfect. Good to hear, Jess. But it is what it is. Algo saw one that I thought was, never going to be a trade, and out, right now it's almost $3 up from the entry. And this one here, I thought this one was ready to go, a couple bucks on that easy, and it's down almost $1.50 from the entry. So, man and machine. That's why they're a good combination like that. So, that's a big winner. That's a big loser. She did get it from this side. Interesting. On this trade here, but this one was much earlier. This one was a little tougher to get on this one here. So this was more what I was looking at. Like I said, I just thought it had more juice to challenge this again when she made the entry here on the second alert there on pullback long. On pushing the spring, she nailed it. Something you had to have definitely been a little quicker on. But, you know, what kind of trader are you? That wasn't for me on that alert. That's all there was to it. So, again, if you guys have questions, please fire them away from me. You know, I like to keep this more of an open forum. Answer your questions, get you some education as far as the software goes, and not just go over the AI or charts or anything like that. You know, like I said, I keep it moving. I won't let there just be dead air time other than when I'm sipping some water here. With that said, what else? Is there anything else I want to jump on from the AI? BJ's, wholesale. Interesting. So I didn't look this one at all today. Almost a red bar ignore there, coming off that entry. You know, and the sellers tried. Sellers tried. The sellers tried. The sellers tried. And they looked like they lost steam here before we just got it rolling. So actually, another great call there on the AI. It's kind of funny how it only shows $62 moderate profit, but that's $62 if I only took 16 shares. So, you know, all relative to the stop. That's how I set it up to show my risk tolerance, risking $100 based on that stop. That's a hefty stop. That's the way the algo calls it, and that's how I have it set up, just as a display. This is not a live account or anything like that. So I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't want to set up like that. I don't. It's not my risk parameters. So if it was ever to auto trade, it's got to be my risk parameters, not someone else's. And you know, you can't adjust this with Holly. So let's see. We knew the AI seems difficult to set up. What's the best way to get some info on this? The videos move a bit too fast, and I guess I need brokerage plus issue. Yeah, there's that. But it's, you know, I'll be honest, Jess, like once you kind of have a handle on the brokerage plus window here, it's pretty straightforward setting up Holly. There's not a lot for you to do. So, you know, we would come here and we're going to connect to the simulator for this exercise. All right. Then we come to the Holly AI tab. And just like we enabled the strategies in Brokerage Plus in the strategies tab here, we do the same thing here. We can either click and drag. So you see how those are all highlighted like this, shaded, and we would enable. So we have 10 selected, so we can enable 10, or we can just go strategy by strategy and enable each one. And then the same thing you would do in the strategies tab here where you edit trading strategy, same thing in Holly. But and it's the same thing, once you've edited a strategy, that's it. As long as you save your layout afterwards, it'll forever be edited. And then the next day, all you have to do is turn the strategies on. So we come to edit long strategies. There's only a few things we got to set up in here. One, select the account. So, you know, we've got Trade Idea simulated account. That's what we're saving as for me. Do we want to go conservative or moderate mode? Okay. And then are we position sizing based on we're just taking X amount of dollars worth of stock? Are we taking a fixed shares? Are we doing it based on the stop loss? Okay. And then our order limit or market. If we go limit, what's our delta offset? What's our limit offset? You know, negative, meaning that we're willing to give up some price to get in the stock. And that's it. And then you do that for the long. So the name here, this is long instructions. This covers all the long strategies. So by setting that, all these long strategies are trading off those instructions. All right. We can right click again and we go to edit short instructions. The same concept. You're doing all the exact same stuff in here, setting that way. And that would edit all these short instructions here. And like I said, once that's done, if we want all of them on, I could click and drag for all, right click and go to enable 12 strategies. Now we can see it all says on there, or we could disable. Now they're all off over here. Excuse me. And we could also go one by one. So enable selected strategy. So let's just say I don't want to do any shorting. You know, I just want to do each of these longs, and I can go through and click each one of these longs. All right. So pretty straightforward on Holly. There's no tricks, no complications as far as that goes. Go. Sorry, just a chat coming in here. I just want to make sure, see if there's someone that I should be sending over here to hit the class with us here. Um, she doesn't have a list of stocks. She looks at the whole market, but she makes the alerts in real time. So she's looking at the whole thing. The earliest, just the earliest Holly will ever make an alert is 9:35 in the morning Eastern time. That's the absolute earliest. But she looks at the whole market. The only thing that excludes a stock from her looking at is if it just doesn't meet her criteria, and that's that. So the setup, what I just showed you there, Jess, on Holly, this part, once you've done this, all right, edit the long and edit the short, then you want to just save. So if you, after you've made all those adjustments there, if you go to File, and then we have Save or Share to Cloud or Save Layout. Save Layout's a local save. Anything you want saved for Brokerage Plus, save the layout, save it as your default layout here, so that when Brokerage Plus loads up every day, or when Trade Ideas loads up every day, it'll load that Brokerage Plus window with it. If you change your layout during the day, Brokerage Plus stays static. It won't move anywhere. It won't do anything unless you touch Brokerage Plus. So, for example, all right, this here default layout, underscore default layout in capitals, that's what everybody's default layout is named. That's the layout when you start Trade Ideas. But let's say that I load I have a scan, my evening scan layout. I have my pre-market layout. Any of those. If I were to load those after I load my default layout on startup, Brokerage Plus is going to stay exactly where it was, exactly as I set it up. Nothing in Brokerage Plus will change with the different layouts. Brokerage Plus is true unto your default layout, no matter what. So, like I said, each day, the only thing, once you have those instructions saved, all you have to do is turn the strategies on and off each day. The reason you have to do that is the strategies change each day. You never know what strategies are going to make the cut to be in there. Thank you for the thumbs up. Perfect circle. I'm always ready to build a scan, Dan. I'm always up for scan building. I'm a scan building junkie. I don't use any of them. I just like to. I don't know. I just like to build scans. How do you enable live scan voice alerts? Good question, Leslie. So voice alerts can only be done if you're on the Windows app, because the pathing of sound is done through Windows, number one. And number two, it can only be done with alert windows, multi windows, and Holly. So where you see a T in this corner for top lists, those cannot, there's no alert, there's no event. It just cycles every 30 seconds, the stocks that come on and off there. Where your A window, I don't have a multi-window up right now, but if there's an M here, it's the same as an A window, just has a bunch of A windows in it as a timestamp alert. So the sound will come in saying, boom, hey, at this exact second, this alert happened. To do this, what we do, we right click the window, we come to Properties, Actions, we would check Play Sound, okay? Make sure there's a check in there. Then we come to Sound Setup, all right? And for the voice, you want text to speech, and you press OK, and that's the end. If you want something different, you can use one of those. You could always set up a custom file if you have something in there for a custom alert for custom sound. And then on Holly, it's one less step actually. So here, again, just one more time real fast. Right click, Properties, Actions, check Play Sound, Setup Sound, text to speech is what you were specifically looking for. Press OK, and we're done. Holly, even easier. Right click, Actions. There's no property to go to. So right click, Actions, make sure Play Sound is checked, Setup Sound, text to speech, and we're in. All right. Real simple stuff. If you're in the web version, your only option is the bell, the ding, whatever it is, because the pathing doesn't exist on a Mac the same as it does on Windows. So So far, I was thinking of a scan for stocks that just reported earnings, which has made a big move that is starting to reverse. So, an overreaction to positive or negative news. How would we start with this? Well, first thing we would do is start with earnings, which that's like the bane of all my filters. The two kids up as gap up and gap down for Halloween. I think that's hysterical. Perfect circle. All right, so we start. Let's first thing I always do is get rid of when building a new stand. Get rid of the stuff that's always going to come in here kind of preloaded. That's just preloaded based on things that are popular, either that I've used or been used in the cloud a whole bunch recently. We're going to come to search because we're looking at earnings. So earnings date. This is the filter that kills me every time. Is this going to show me? All right, so we want earnings to have happened. I just plug values in here. I never use this earnings filter. So earnings will be reported no more than 1 day after. So we want earnings behind us. Okay, so this means earnings are now behind us in the scan, I do believe. I'm going to click OK. Let me do this real fast to make sure I did this right. What do we got coming through here? What do you say for earnings? Okay, so earnings are behind us. Earnings are behind us. All right, we don't want earnings that far behind us, though. All right, so configure. What's this? Earnings will be reported at least 3 days after. So what's the max days we want to look back there, Dan? What are you thinking? 3 days max look back? So we're looking back 1 to 3 days. Let's go 4. We'll go 1 to 4 days. All right, so we're there. Let's look at stocks, at least $5. Let's see, we need a position and range. We want to see stuff that's up. We need some kind of position range or range. So let's see, range. I don't think we want range as much. Let's go with position. So since we're working on a 4-day time frame for that, let's say position and range 10 days, because maybe we had a bit of a run up into earnings. All right, and let's go with 75% above the 10-day range. All right, so we're looking good there. Maybe let's get some volume in here. Let's get 150,000 shares traded today. Let's weed out some noise. Let's see. You guys got ideas? Throw them at me for a filter here, all right? Otherwise, we'll just we're gonna play the look at filters game. Get this nice and wide. Volatility might be interesting. You want to look at stuff that's got a lot of volatility, maybe. I don't know that price range is going to matter too much on this, so I'm going to lean away from that. Let's see, we'll stick away from gaps and stuff because we're playing off the earnings, so we're not as important as what it actually did today. Wondering maybe 2 days up in a row, what that might look like. Maybe let's throw VWAP in here, distance from VWAP 1. Because now we want to see it getting weak. So maybe we want to see it get under VWAP, all right? So let's see. Minus 0.25, right? So prices is this going to do? Here we go. Prices below or prices at the VWAP. So maybe the VWAP is going to start to press down on this bad boy here. All right. Get back into search. And I'm just throwing things out there that sound good to me. So if you guys got something jumps out at you, throw it at me. We got VWAP, so let's skip the Bollinger Bands. Range contraction. That's an interesting filter. What do you do? So let's see. What do you tell me? Range contraction. The DO4 range is smaller than the range DO4 of that. Contraction 2 consecutive days. Range explosion. Max to -3. I like that because maybe we're losing steam here. That's the idea behind this, right? So let's add that filter. Want a 2 in there. Let's just see what this looks like for now. All right. We got to figure out an alert. Sorry. Fade the earnings. All right. Now you got to find an alert. What do we want here? What do we want? Let's go with, I got it. I got what we want. Let's cross resistance below, but let's not do the confirmed one. We just want to see some stuff coming at us. Add that alert. Cross resistance below. Okay, we're going to press OK. We've named it. So we're looking at crossing resistance below. We got stocks at least $5, traded 150 shares today. Stock price has got to be below the VWAP or at it at least. We're 75% above the low of 10 days. Got to have a couple days of contraction here, and earnings got to be 1 to 4 days behind it. All right, let's see. What do we got? Let's run the history. Go with history today. Let's see what you returned here. Not much. So maybe that 10-day filter is tripping us up. Casper got bought out. Interesting, though. Off that buyout, it's fading. Not going to matter anyways, but just interesting that the price movement on that chart is what we were looking for. So, all right, we're starting to fade, and this might be coming down into that gap after that earnings. I think this is something like we want to look at. That's later in the day. It would have been nice to have caught that back here. But kind of what we're looking at here. All right, something that's going to be too tight, though. What's too tight for us? Maybe the alert isn't triggering us enough stuff. Maybe let's give it a little more leeway with that VWAP just to see if that does anything. I don't think that's going to do it, though. Nope. And VWAP had nothing to do with anything. Let's go with 50 on this here. So change that position to range to 50. Perhaps it's the alert. It's not going to return us enough stuff. All right, there we go. That opened it up a little more. So let's see, fray. Like that. All right, fade the earnings run up. So we ran up with earnings, and we're fading it back down. It's kind of fading back from earnings, but earnings are a little further away here now, so I'm not sure that's going to have the same effect. Maybe tightening it to 3 days might be better. It's also a new issue, so it's kind of tough. CPX, what do you look like? Same thing. So these newer issue stocks are like tough. Big trading range, though, all things considered. We already seen Frey. Let's see. Huma. What do you look like, Huma? All right, so we get the alert down here. Moving up, moving back down. That could be. There's the earnings. So as a run up into earnings, you got this topping tail here. All right. So maybe that's the beginning of the weakness and we start to move back down here. Check some stuff out here. Just wondering if this cross below support is kind of holding us back or not. Sorry, my wheels are turning in here. So BLMN, Blooming, right? Sold off after earnings saw come out. RSI divergence on Explorer. So let's take a look at that and see how that compares to some of the stuff we've seen. Oof. So earnings had that big pop up, came back down to earth, moved up again, and moved back down. So I think the 10-day is too much on the filter. I don't like that 10-day filter. I think we're trying to catch too much of a run up, maybe. Let's get rid of that. It's giving us even a few more alerts now. And he continues to get punished. That's continuing to fade off the earnings. Riot. I caught a nice one here. Riot still got room down here. This one's already beat up after the earnings, so I'm not sure about that. Where are we at in the grand scheme of things? That's a new issue too. So many new issues coming through a lot of my scans lately. A little odd. Warner. Woof. This thing's got room to fall still, it looks like to me. That looks like it come right down here. I'm liking what we're seeing in here overall. I'm not convinced that the alert catalyst we're using right now is what we want, though. But I like overall what we're seeing here. This thing looks like it's got support around 0. I mean, there's nothing holding that up. I get shorted right to the end of the time. We looked at that. What do we got here? Oof. Again, that looks like it's got support. Looks like it could go another buck easy down here. So I think we got something to work with here for sure. Let's see. I'd like to go back a little bit. Yeah, let's go back in history a little bit. Let's take a look. Let's go with the time frame. So today's the 18th. Let's go back to the 16th. Let's go back to 9:30 a.m. Take a look what happened on the 16th with this. Let's see, what did RIDE do? That was an alert on the open. The reason why I wanted to go back a few days is see if it's got a continuation to it. So I had a nice continuation to it. This one's moving sideways on us. This had a beautiful follow through. I I think we got something here. I mean, like I said, there's no magic scan, so this one gets the alert here. We make a move up, and then we give that move up right away the next day. Like I said, no magic scan, but stack the odds in our favor, find charts that we're looking for. Another nice move here. Really nice one off that. CompuGen, another couple day fade on that. So lower price stock, but we got it up 527. This one's moving sideways. Couple day fade again. And this is fades coming through, and we're sitting at all-time highs right now. So finding these ones that are fading off those earnings, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of impressed with the scan. So all right, let's do this. We got something to build here. We got something, we got a template. Now you guys can take it. I'm going to save it, share it to the cloud. Anybody that's interested in this scan, you take it and make it your own. Change it any which way you see fit. Share that there. There we go. Excelente. Perfect. If you're anything like me, you'll be inundated with scans for the rest of your life. I don't know. I don't. As a kid growing up, I was huge playing video games, and this has become like an adult video game to me in some ways, building scans. And it's a way for me to mess around with market stuff without risking capital, while I can still run my trading plan the way I like. That's why I really like building scans, and you never know what you're going to come across. You just never know. Is anybody going to outsmart the market and everything else? No, absolutely not. That's never going to happen. Sorry. The people that do, they're not scanning. They're building stuff like Amazon, but that's what that is. Anyways, we can certainly find our place in the forest. So, all right, that was fun. We got about 20 minutes left. Stocks with bad earnings that might be buying in the opposite direction. Yeah, we could find something like that. Well, first, let's do this. Let's take that scan and flip it. Sometimes you can flip a scan and it works great. Sometimes you flip a scan and it doesn't work great. So, and what I mean by flip, if nobody's familiar with this, is a great little feature here. We right click, we come to configure. Got this flip button right here. So now we flipped it. All right. Now it's crossed above a resistance. We're still looking at these are base things here, but now it's trading above the VWAP, but it's no more than 0.25 above the VWAP. So we're not letting it get away from us in that sense. So this is where I don't think it will. This is where I don't think it'll go. Yeah, that's what the flip is. So it doesn't always translate the same. Like there's things I'd want to change here now because I don't want to be held back in the distance. So all it's going to do is going to move things from one column to the other. Mostly, not everything. So we're still looking at past earnings like this. But let's get rid of the VWAP this way. Let's go with the VWAP. Let's see. Let's go. We want to see it at its least 0.25% above the VWAP. We'll start with that. I think this filter said we want a 3 for expanding, right? So show me stocks where the stocks range is stable, no more than 3 days range contraction. No more than 3. Not sure if I want the contraction. What happens if I 2 days of range contraction? It's been exploding. Okay. Just curious on some of this. let's take a look here what this is going to look like. We got all this, we got all this, we got all this. And we're crossing above resistance now, right? So fade the earnings. 0 in the purple. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. I was thinking that. What's that going to do if we do that here? No, it takes away the exploding. That's why. What happens? Yeah, and I don't want over contraction. That's what I don't want. I want us. We're building steam now, and if we've built too much steam, that's okay. Let's go with this for now. Let's go with this for now. I'm going to leave that 3 there. I'm just curious, and let's just see what we're returning here. But I want to go back a few days because this is something that we're looking to kind of ride for a day or two. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to go to time frame on the history. Let's go back to the 15th on this one here. So we're at 9:30 a.m. All right, there we go. Let's start to see. Oh, we know what this did. Made that nice move that day specifically. So then it faded actually. Interesting. So it made a big move off that earnings that day and then faded afterwards. But you got to wonder now. Just, you know, my eye can't help but do this. We made a big move up. We pulled back. We tried to make another big move up and we pulled back. We've defended this gap now a few times. All right. Interesting. This setup here. We've defended the gap. And we defended the gap. Interesting. So, all right. HIMS. So we got a couple day run out of this one here. Nope, not so much. So we get the entries 1530. So, you know, if you got in it on this day somewhere in here, you had a few days to actually get out with a profit still, but not what we really want. And 1 day of carry through. Sideways and then fading. Interesting. This one's still kind of fading, like we just saw. But a lot of these are also probably they're alerts early in the morning. We know how early in the morning alerts can go. So let's move away from the open a little bit. No, we're still fading here. Might have to rethink this one here. Oh, we saw that already. We know what this did. This had that big move and then it's kind of pulled back. Some of the same alerts come through. A day and a half follow through. Interesting. This one's almost fading better than the fade. We saw that. SoFi, what'd you do? Kind of weird. This one's fading more than the fade. I wonder what happens when we put a cross below resistance on this one instead. This one carried through. Almost seeing a theme though. It's like everything's giving up after earnings, to be honest. Oof. Wendy's. I'm kind of fighting with this range here. Who's playing golf these days? Apparently not enough people. All right, well, let's think about this for a second. I'd like to get this to look nicer. So I'm just wondering if this range contraction here is slowing us too much. Let's make that one adjustment for now and let's see what happens. So let's get back that same time frame, and then I'm thinking that VWAP might be holding us back too close to the VWAP, not enough strength off that VWAP. We got the same thing here. So same day, but let's see if that day looks different now. And now I'm seeing a lot of stuff from that same day. Many more alerts though. Many more alerts. But almost all the same stuff. So nope, that wasn't helping us. That didn't help our cause. Let's up this. Let's go with 0.5% above VWAP. We want to see it pushing. We want to see strength. No, because we saw that already. All right. All right, that one's a little nicer. Kind of nicer. I'd like to see a second day of follow through. There we go. There, no, that's beautiful. I mean, that's kind of lucky though too. But you know, you get luck on both sides, good and bad. We looked at that already. Did we look at Blink? That's got some follow through to it. This looks much nicer. This one's got a little more strength, a little more oomph on it. Not as many alerts as I would like. So what do we got to do here? Okay, we're leaving earnings the way it is. I put distance from VWAP 5, not 0.5. Well, that's crazy, Chris. Let's go with 0.75 then, because those are some decent looking charts. That's why we didn't have so many. There we go. Just a day of follow through BW. Yeah, kind of some follow through. It was at 10:03. Not really. Kind of wobble back and forth. I think this thing gave up its whole, yeah. I kind of know people that are involved in this company anyways, so, or well, I won't say involved, that hate that company. That's nice. That's not bad. A couple days off that, where we got 25.50. All right. Not the great. Well, all right. So we get the alert up in here. We got 1 day of pause and then a day of go. If you want to, well, for example, on this here for the VWAP, if you want to see it, this is only 0.75% above the VWAP. You want it 50% above the VWAP. You're not going to see anything. I don't know anything's 50% above the VWAP. But you'd put a 50 here because this is working in percents. So if we click here, price is 0.75% above the VWAP. So, all right, trying to think here. What else can we throw in here instead? What can we substitute in? Because you add too many filters and all of a sudden you're not getting results. So, that's the thing, over filtering. Like over optimization on a scan, you the same thing. You can over filter and then you're not getting anything. And it's a trade off because, you can put more filters on, you might get some more quality alerts, but you just might not get as many alerts where you can take some filters away and you will get more quality alerts maybe, but you also get more alerts that are kind of blah. It depends. So for example, your volume's like, so this 1 minute volume done in percent, this 100 means normal because you're doing, what percent is it doing off its average? And 1,000 would mean 10 times and 500 would mean 5 times because it's doing it how many times something did. Whereas this is a percent from distance. So that would be the two differences between these two, even though they're both working technically in percents. It's what it's referencing for that percent. versus relative volumes or ratios. So one is normal, two would be two times, so on and so forth. When you have the ratios. I want to see some. Let's do this. Let's switch this out for the VWAP. Where do you go to learn TI? Right here. You're in the right spot. Just kind of at the end of today's session. We start this at 3:30 every day. 3:30 Eastern there, Timothy. It's an open forum Q&A. So we're just doing a little scan building. But I never come with content. You guys drive the content. If nobody's speaking, I'll talk about the AI. I'll talk about some charts. Talk about some scans. Dan's been kind of popping in with some questions, wanting to build a scan. So that's what we've been kind of leading with for the day. But anybody's at any time. I don't want anybody to ever feel take a back seat because I'm working with something with someone. I just prefer, as long as someone's engaging me, I'm going to run with that engagement right up until that engagement's run its course. So nobody else is popping in anything at the moment. So that's why I'm running with the scan building with Tim. All right. Well, welcome to the community, Timothy. Well, we're super happy to have you, of course. So give you a quick rundown here. This stream opens at 9 o'clock Eastern every single day. A fellow named Barry runs it as a trading room. He can troubleshoot some trade ideas questions. He's a little more focused on trading. Barry will never, ever, ever tell you what to buy, sell, hold, or do with anything. If you ask Barry, you say, hey, Barry, what do you think of the stock? He'll say, hey, what do you think of that stock? Now, if he's not busy, he might pull up a chart, take a look at it and say, oh, this looks like some support. That looks like some resistance. You got this moving average. But he's never going to tell you, oh, this level's a buy, that level's a sell, nothing like that. Barry's a total professional. Robert, I think the person that I need, Brad, isn't around. He's the one that does all the data stuff. Because I direct messaged him and I haven't heard back from him. I know there's something going on with some commercial shoot or something that they've been doing. And we normally have a marketing meeting and a few different meetings during the week, and all of our meetings have been canceled this week, Robert. So I think he's just out on me right now. I have not forgotten you, I promise, though. So that's kind of the short and skinny there as far as this stream goes there, Timothy. We have a full user's guide that you can look stuff up in. All kinds of things can go on in that, or you can find all kinds of things in that user's guide. We have tons of video archive and all that. So, Timothy, I want you to do this for me. info@trade-ideas.com. Timothy, I want you to write an email there to info@trade-ideas.com. Say, hey, Chris V in the late day Q&A says he has some education links for me if I can get those links. All right. And I'm going to send you some stuff that's what I think are some of the better education pieces that we have. So jumping back into this here with the scan, I just swapped the VWAP for, I just want to see 1 day up. I want to see how that works instead. Like I said, flipping a scan just rarely in my experience turns out the way I want it to. Let's go back to the time frame. Let's work with that same time frame. Let's see. So Wednesday. And Monday's also a weird day too to go back to. Maybe Tuesday would have been better. See, now we're back to looking at some of these things again. That look kind of the same. Aurora. I think this thing gave it up. Yeah, pot stocks just absolutely gave it up again. Further confirming my feelings on pot stocks. You like smoking weed? Great. Used to love that stuff. But as far as making money on their stocks, I don't get it. Everybody can grow it. One government wants to arrest you. Another government wants to tax you, or part of the government. I just don't understand pot stocks. Banks won't take your money if you grow it. Nah, this didn't do what I wanted it to either. Interesting. Total fades off all these earnings. Just wonder if it's the earnings season itself and it's all fades after earnings in general anyways. Some food for thought though. Yeah, I don't, all personal feelings aside or whatever. I mean, I don't care if someone smokes, they don't smoke, whatever. But just from a business standpoint, I just don't get it anymore. Literally everybody can grow the stuff. I don't think it's, to probably grow like that, real quality stuff, like growing anything is probably, this whole process involved in it and some knowledge to have, and botany and all that stuff like that. But anybody with a backyard, order seeds from places now. Some places will ship them, some places won't. So once again, how do you market? How do you sell something that everybody can do in their backyard? On top of that, like I said, state government wants you to sell as much as you can to tax it. The bank still won't take your money. The federal government's going to arrest you if you know doing too much of it or doing it with the wrong people. Nah, I'm not finding what I want off of this. I think that's gonna wrap it on this whole scan building thing here, as far as that goes. But that definitely, that fade that we did before, that's something to look at. That was a pretty solid thing here. So, one last thing, if you're still here, Timothy, with me, one of the best things I think anybody could realize with trade ideas is everything's a right click. Okay. Whatever your layout is that loads up, I forget what the base layout is nowadays. When you first start up trade ideas, it's going to have some different scans. Each scan has a different purpose to it. But if you're like, all right, well, what's the scan? All right. In the base, the body of the scan, you right click, here's configure. And you come into the configure and you have these tabs across the top. Uh, as you get familiar with it, they become self explanatory. Your search tab, all the different things you can put into a scan. You highlight something, you can add it, add the alert. Those are alerts. Filters look a little different on their icons. So these all have these character like icons where when we get to the filters, they're going to have this eventually. This double icon here, tealish and purple color, add filter. In here, you can select the alert. I always recommend staying with one alert. Don't put two alerts in the same alert window. That's just my opinion. In the window specific filters, where you find the filters that you've put into the scan, you give them minimum and maximum values. If you're ever having trouble on what it means by putting in a value, click on the show me function. So this is telling me show me stocks where the price is at least 75% above the low of this range. All right. Your exchanges you want to look at. I'm not going to dive down symbols lists on you for now. Just I'd leave that be. Columns is what you're displaying here. All right. So these are your columns across the top. So you can see the ones that you have selected. You can see the ones that you can bring over. You can always search for something and add a column by clicking show column. All right. And here it'll give you a summary of what the scan is doing. All right. So that's, right click on scans on charts. Same thing, right click. All right. You can change your time frame. Here are your options on time frames. We could send it to the web. What's Blink doing? Let me bring over trusty Yahoo. And here we get a quick snapshot what Yahoo tells us about Blink. All right. Or anything. Right click again. We got this properties here. We can turn pre-market and post-market on and off. We can have our chart symbol linked. We can put crosshairs on. We can sync those crosshairs. We can get rid of our watermark. We can go dark theme if we want. We can show the AI, we can show indicators, things like that. All these different things. There's a lot to dive down. It's a marathon, Timothy. So I know it can be daunting right at the beginning with trade ideas. But give yourself about a week, and you start to really, really start to get a hold of things, and then you'll realize how big the platform really is. So when I see a block trade on block trade scanner, 9% of the time you can see the transaction on tape, but lately I've seen a few trades that do not show up on the tape time and sales. I had to go with a related ETF. Yeah, I'm not sure on that. But I watch time and sales, but I've never played with block trade at all. And like I said, I messaged Brad. He's going to be the go-to for that. Not only did I message him, but in the ticket that Robert sent in specifically for that block trade, I pushed it towards Brad's box, so there's no way Brad couldn't have seen it. So very short for a short time, stopped exactly when he said. I was overwhelmed, didn't know where to start. Yeah, and here's the other thing, Tim. There's no right place to start. Because there's so much that the platform can do, but send that email into info@trade-ideas.com. And I got some, some general pointed videos. There's nothing complicated in them, and it'll. I think those will get you going. Plus, there's a new user's guide, probably since when you gave us a shot before. It's a really, really full, inclusive user's guide. I'm going to end on the user's guide real quick here. I'm going to bring one over. Education tab. Sorry, just navigating some pages. TI user's guide. All right, so this is our user's guide, and I'll even drop a link to it right now here. Copy, paste. All right, there's the user's guide. All right, and then we click down here, and you got this generalized quick links here. Okay, for all these different things that we're doing here. All right, but then if you want to get real into the nitty gritty, click full table of contents. We got a search function up here. All right, and so Market Explorer. All right, here's our Market Explorer. This is what we got on it. Goes through this, pretty explanatory on all this stuff here. If you're looking at top list, right? What do we got on top list? Here we go. I'm going to tell you what top lists mean, all right, so on and so forth. You can click through different things here. So there's a lot to that. I just saw something that reminds me here on Market Explorer. Any of you are up tomorrow morning about 8:45 in the morning, Michael Noss is featured every single week with these fine folks of Trader TV here. About 8:45. So sometimes he's on at 8:40, sometimes he's at 8:50, but right around the 8:45 mark, right here on Trader TV, Michael Noss will be live doing his thing for a couple of minutes, talking some charts, some scans, some things like that. So just give him a shout out, some love and some plugs right there on Trader TV. So you can find that on YouTube. There's no URL. Let's copy the URL at the current time. We don't want the URL at the current time. But if you were to just come and you were look for Trader TV, in fact, let me see. Can I find that for you guys? Drop this link for you here. All right, here we go. You find Michael here tomorrow morning. All right, like I said, if you check in around 8:40 Eastern time, all right, that's where you're going to find Michael with that. So, all right, I'll end on this here. Like I like to give my shout outs everywhere. First off, thank you everybody for coming in. I really appreciate the engagements. Makes my job much easier, I would say. Doing this when you guys are asking questions. That's what I'm here for, to let you guys get the maximum value out of the software. I don't know everything, but I do know a lot. And if I don't know something, I'm going to get back to you. Like I said, sometimes it could take a day, a week, but I'm going to get you an answer one way or the other. So I thank everybody for showing up in the engagements. I do this broadcast every single day, Monday through Friday at 3:30 Eastern, usually run for about an hour, give or take. Barry will open this stream. He opens it Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern every day. Does a little pre-market, go over with everybody, what's gapping up, what's gapping down, some upgrades, downgrades, things like that. Barry's a total professional, never telling you what to buy, sell, hold, do anything like that. He shares all the scans. He's got tons of awesome scans. Barry's more of a day trader. I'm more of kind of a swing trader. So you get, some different stuff between all of us. At noon Eastern every day, Barry will give up the stream here for an hour for a Q&A that's similar to this, but you get a different person every day. So different personality, different trading, different scanning, all that stuff like that, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern every day. Barry shuts this down at 3:30 every day. All right, so we give the stream half an hour rest, and then I start it back up again. You're very welcome, Jess. You're very welcome, Robert. Like I said, Robert, I'm going to get you that answer. Jess, I don't know if you saw the email I sent you. If you can inquire that question I asked about E-Trade, I've started a ticket to figure out to get to the bottom of that. I reached out to some other people that I know with E-Trade that use this. They're not seeing what you're seeing. So as far as that disconnect that you have in Brokerage Plus there, I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we're going to get to the bottom of that for you, Jess. And I thank you all very much. You have a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening. Take care, and I will see you all to close down the market tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. Bye-bye.